Christmas Eve, as I said, December 24th, Ambrielle Baldwin, her 10-month-old son, her 6-year-old son, her 14-year-old brother DeMarcus, her 15-year-old brother Darcus, and their mother, Joyce Birch, who's a black female with a date of birth of June 25th, 1984, went Christmas shopping at a store here in Largo. While they're shopping, 15-year-old Darcus was jealous that their mother, Joyce, was getting 14-year-old DeMarcus more gifts than he was receiving. So they had this family spat about who was getting what and what money was being spent on who. And DeMarcus then moved toward Ambrielle and shot her in the chest with a .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun, again, while she's carrying the baby. Ambrielle fell to the ground, so did the baby. The baby wasn't hurt because the baby was in a carrier. So when DeMarcus falls to the ground, Darcus comes out of the house. And again, Darcus is 15, and he takes out his .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun because, again, I'll say this sarcastically, just normal that all these kids, that's what you do, right? You just carry handguns. When you get in a spat with your sibling, you take out your guns and you have a gun battle. So he takes out his gun and tells DeMarcus, so Darcus tells DeMarcus, quote, "You shot my MF sister," and then Darcus shot DeMarcus one time in the stomach.
I feel like everything is destroyed and took it from me.
Welcome to the podcast, It Too Podcast, the acronym standing for Is It Important to You? If it is, there's no judgment. If it isn't, there's no judgment. We can voice our thoughts on the subject respectfully. So we just want to cover, we're a couple days late though. We just want to cover this story about Ambrielle Baldwin in Pinellas County, which is Largo, Florida. She was shot and killed, 23 years old, 2 children. She was shot and killed by her brothers, 14 and 15-year-olds. They were arguing over Christmas gifts in the store. 15-year-old was upset about the 14-year-old getting more gifts than him. So the argument spilled over to the grandmother's house, and she tried to end the argument. She tried to, tell them, calm down, it's not that serious. And the 14-year-old told her he would shoot her and the baby. And that's just what he did. He shot her. And the reason the baby didn't get shot, I believe the baby was 11 months old because he was in a carrier. And once the 14-year-old shot her, the 15-year-old shot him. What are your thoughts on this? On Christmas Eve, actually, what are your thoughts about this story?
I feel like they're not telling us the whole truth. I feel like the family's leaving out some type of detail because it's either that he's just a maniac, honestly, and he really needed help, and they've been seeing he needed help, or they're leaving out some type of like it's something. He's wrong, but I'm saying what? Because that sounds so, it just sounds so out of this world to me for you to just randomly do that over an argument that was not that serious. So, were they physically fight? Like, were they fighting physically? Did they say something to him? Like, I know he's wrong, but I'm saying, like, what else? Because there's something else in this story that we don't know about.
Well, the sheriff, he didn't say that they were fighting. They were arguing verbally. And, okay, first of all, you got to have history. If you watch the press conference the sheriff gave, he said these 2 boys were, been getting in trouble, I believe, since 11 or 12. One breaking in cars, the other, and for a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old to just be carrying a .40 caliber and a .45 caliber gun, like, because first of all, no 14 or 15-year-old, it's not legal. You have to be 18 years old to carry a firearm legally. and that's not even a handgun. It's a what, like an AK-47, right? You're allowed to have at 18. So they were 14 and 15 years old carrying handguns. So it's an issue, and they say the families been knew that these boys carry guns, and this is the way they handle a conflict, by shooting and then shooting at babies. So
And
I don't know if it was more to it. I just think they've been problem children.
that's why that's why you said these parents should go down for their kids' actions, because had it would have been more something, I don't know, a parent or the guardian, whoever's over them, if they would have got the consequences like you said some of the parents should, I think a lot would have changed.
And that's another thing.
Kids,
A lot of people may not agree with me with this, and I might be going out on a limb, but two young boys, 14, 15 years old, black men, they've been raised by women. They've been raised, because at first it said the mother, then they ended with the grandmother. Yeah, I hear them saying uncles and this and that, but it's nothing like a father. If they had a present father in the situation, a man could teach them that you don't get emotional. You don't pull out a gun and shoot over Christmas gifts, son. You just don't do that. You control your emotions and you say, okay, this is what mama can afford for me, and this what I'm 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 gonna settle for. This is what mother could afford for me. You don't take out a gun and shoot your sister and try to kill your nephew over Christmas gifts. That's why I always say it's important for fathers to be in a child's life. Women need to stop keeping these children away. I might not be. This is how I feel. You need to let your child see their father. They need to be active, and men, you need to be active in your children's life, because I feel like they wouldn't be emotionally for them to react like this over Christmas gifts, being young men, and just to have a full out gun battle like that sheriff said over Christmas gifts. It's crazy.
that's what I'm saying. I just they he oh what I do, I'm happy with a little bit. At least they put him in a I think they put him in a mental health facility
And that's another thing. The
versus
only
in
the only
prison.
reason he went to a mental facility is because he threatened to harm himself. Once he's evaluated and the dust settles, he's going to be transferred to a juvenile detention center,
Really?
and he's going to be charged with attempt, because that's the one that shot the brother. They're charging him with attempted murder. They are charging the 14-year-old with murder, child abuse, and another charge. But he's going back to juvenile detention center. So, but let me tell you this: they said, well, the sheriff said that, I believe the 14-year-old, he had a robbery charge. It was around 13 years old. And guess what? He was found guilty, but they let him go home because they said, well, he's a juvenile. And see, that's the problem with the justice system. When these kids are committing these crimes like this, either, like I said, I believe the parents should be charged, or you need to make a harsher sentence for juveniles.
No,
So,
I think that they just need to. They don't need to put him in. They don't need to put him in. They don't need to put him in juvenile. They need to keep him
in the mental facility, you think?
in there.
I it just they have a history.
Murder suicide.
But they have a history of crime, and you can tell from the way the way she telling them to stop arguing over Christmas gifts, and they just pull out guns and start. That's not no. That's
That's
not
not normal.
normal.
I don't know. It's nothing to justify murder, but they're saying the conversation went like that, but I doubt it. There's no way. I feel like it. I feel like that's what started, because this is the thing. I know have a family that argues too. I'm not saying they crazy,
But
but
they're not gonna pull out
they're
guns and
not gonna
start
pull
shooting
out
each
guns to kill
other.
each other. But people fabricate the truth sometimes. So
You know what?
the police officer was not there. I feel like it started off as Christmas gifts, and then it went into, it could have been family issues. They was arguing about, oh, were you this, you that, you this, and then he
The
says,
gun.
you know
I,
what, I'll kill you right now. And then,
okay, I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
but
now she's trying to label, or they're trying to label it as Christmas gifts. But
but
I
that's how it.
needed
But
argument.
but the thing is, that's how it started, and it probably was something deeper going on. But for them to be young men and to handle it that way emotionally, they it. That's why I keep telling you these children need fathers to teach them, because it's no way you arguing about Christmas gifts and just shooting each other with babies in the house, 6 month old and 11-month old babies in the house. And they say the family knew that these two, they carried these guns like this. But yeah, you might be right. It might have been something deeper, but it started over Christmas gifts.
It had
And
to.
now this lady, the mom, she don't have, the daughters passed and two are gone. And they trying to figure out if they're going to charge them as adults. And I
And I think
believe they will.
he must have hurt himself because he see how what he did was such an impulsive decision.
But
That
the one that tried to hurt himself is not the one that shot her. The one that tried to hurt himself is the one that shot the 14-year-old for shooting. The younger one is the one that shot his sister. The 14-year-old. The 15-year-old, the one that tried to hurt himself, is the one that shot him for shooting his sister. So, people start talking that I'm going to harm myself when they realize I'm going to prison.
yeah.
And when they start to have a change of mind, and they'll start saying they want to harm themselves. So that we can end with that and just ask everybody to give us their thoughts on this situation. What do you think? Do you think that if a father was present, then maybe they would have handled this situation differently? Or just give us your thoughts and let us know what you guys think. Do you think if they would have been, I guess, punished when they were committing crimes at 12 and 13, that this would have not happened? Let us know, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you guys for listening.